What is up, everyone? I'm Jeff Lund, and this is the Mediocre Alaskan Podcast, where we are intolerant and weak-minded attitudes that keep people from pursuing new and exciting things in the areas of fitness, outdoors, and general lifestyle. Talking about backcountry skiing today. When most people think about Alaska, they think about fishing, and they think about hunting, and they think about snow, but not necessarily skiing, unless you're looking at some sort of extreme. Some dude hops out of a helicopter on some ridiculous cliff and then skis down. So not a ton of resorts. There are some in the interior area, but in southeast not much. So I talked to my buddies Shawn, Ian, and Chad about opportunities in the Ketchikan area, what you need as far as gear, the differences between in skis and what you're looking for if you're looking to get started, some information about safety as well as gear and just the routine and the process. If you're heading up one of the mountains here in the Ketchikan area, you're looking at driving as far as you can, then either a snow machine or hoofing it up there, and how to get up there using skis and the right skis that you can kind of use for both. Obviously, you don't want to be going up a mountain with downhill skis. But, I know very little about skiing, as is the case with a lot of stuff, so I want to talk to some guys who know what they're talking about and bring it to not only myself but to you. Make sure you check out the mediocrealaskan.com content there. If you have questions about anything or you have an idea for a show, please contact me, direct message me at Alaska Lund on Instagram or the Mediocre Alaskan on Instagram. And here we go with episode 72, Backcountry Skiing. You guys were up Dude yesterday.
Yeah, Dude Mountain.
And it was...
marginal. I don't know.
It was like marginal.
It's early season.
At least it was worth taking skis up, because the week before there was 1 inch in places and 6 inches in places that were filled in by the wind. And the week before there was 0.
Yeah.
So this week at least there was about 10 inches in the parking lot.
27 up at the elevation where we were skiing from.
Yeah, at
But no base layer?
Well, it's actually base.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's heavy.
You know, whatever fell last week had some freeze-thaw cycles in it, so the stuff was fairly heavy, and down lower it was kind of...
And it had a breakable crust on top.
Yeah.
The dogs had a hard time.
Yeah.
They got worked over, which is half the reason we go, is to make the dogs tired.
Yeah. How far did you drive?
We drove all the way to the trailhead.
All the way to the trailhead?
In truck ruts, yeah.
Whoa,
In snow
man.
ruts.
It was rutted snow driving, but controlled the whole time.
It was good. Ian did a great job. Never slipped, never spun out. Just nice and slow.
What do you have? Do you just go four-wheel just straight up, or anything else?
Yeah, four-wheel drive. I was carrying chains just in case, but didn't need them.
But that's pretty rare that we can pull that off.
Yeah.
I'm too scared to drive up there.
Usually by the time the skiing's good, it's a sled show. And
you get stuck there, and then it starts snowing.
Yeah, stuck till spring.
Yeah.
And then somebody will destroy your vehicle.
Yeah.
That's what people do up there sometimes. Smash the windows if it's been there for more than a couple days.
There are a couple spots where if you slide off, it's over.
Well, that was the nice thing. Ian had reconned it the day before, and it had like crusty ruts that kind of kept you in the track, kind of like a train track. Yeah.
Man,
so
that's crazy. I would not want to do that, man.
We had to do a little shoveling to get the rig turned around in the parking lot, but not much. And then the skin up was fun, and the ski out, we got down farther than we thought. We didn't think there'd be much snow left that got through, penetrated the forest and got to the forest floor, but we were actually able to skin right up the clear cut on the trail, and then through the woods to the muskeg ridge, and then right up the ridge, and then it was super windy up high, but at the marvin trees it was okay. And then we just did that tree run right there. And that was good for 500 feet or something like that.
Yeah, got pretty heavy and crusty at the bottom, but I mean the top, a few dozen really good turns. So
How many runs did you go on?
We took basically 2, one lap and then out, because it just wasn't very good.
So how long did it take you to drive up there?
The drive from Ward Cove was probably like 45 minutes.
Okay, that's not too bad.
No, I just kept it first in four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
But normally we end up this time of year parking at the Y, right where the turnoff is for area hunt, and then snow machining up there. And we used to just ski up the whole darn road, but that makes a huge day, because it's 3.5 miles to the trailhead.
That's another hour and a half of skinning before you even start.
An hour and a half, I'd say. Yeah.
There's been talk. My spring break, I'm going down to Laramie, and the girlfriend wants to go to a cross-country or backcountry skiing thing into a yurt.
Oh, sweet.
I've snowboarded twice, and I've skied twice. Last time I snowboarded was on a snowy logging road on Prince of Wales, so it's not really, doesn't really count.
That could be harder than anything.
Yeah,
yeah, like right
it was pretty docile, but I've got no clue concept of backcountry. So and it's going to be different. Like, it's not backcountry skiing. We're just getting from where we're parking to the yurt. So even my terminology, I don't even know.
Okay.
I know some basics.
So you might be taking a pair of cross-country skis instead of a pair of backcountry, like alpine skis.
What's the difference?
They're skinnier and lighter, and they're more set up for going fast on flatter ground.
Okay.
And sometimes they've got fish scales on the bottom so that you can climb up. And that's a fun thing. You would have no problem with that.
Yeah.
That's the assumption.
As long as you don't have tons of elevation gain.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, if there's a lot of vertical, they don't have the traction quite so much.
What about how the boots clip in, and how is just the whole setup a little bit different? And it's like lifting your heels not down, just at the toe, and it's like a hip flexor outward motion, straight forward.
Well, when you're traveling on anything that's either uphill or flat, your heels release. Okay. And so some bindings you can actually lock the heel down for the downhill, and some they just stay loose, the tele skis. But for what you're probably doing, it'll be like a cross-country ski or a Nordic ski, and it'll have a bar across the front of the boot that clips into a little, it just grabs right there.
Yeah, and so most of your flex there is going to be in your boot. Like what Shawn does in telemark skiing, he's got a cable that traps the boot around the back, and so his heels still come up, but there's a lot of flex and resistance, so he's able to keep a positive edge and make turns going downhill. Okay. Cross-country skis, it's pretty much just the only resistance is the flex of the sole of the boot, and the boots are a lot softer, they're more like hiking boots. They're going to feel
super
a lot like
comfortable. I mean, you can walk around in them comfortably without your skis on.
But you'd feel pretty sloppy if you started trying to make turns downhill.
That's what I warned him. That's what I warned him against, dude. I was like, don't do it, man. You're just gonna
if the conditions are awesome, then it'd be fun to make some turns downhill. But if it's icy or not very good conditions.
Well, mountains of Colorado in March, who knows, right? It could be shut down. I have no idea what to expect, but.
Well, will you guys have a couple days to do a little cross-country skiing or downhill skiing before the trip?
I think it's just spring break, so I get there. There's like 2 days. So we're gonna spend in Laramie, then we're gonna head right out there. So
my suggestion for anybody who's going backcountry skiing is spend as much time on area riding a chairlift as you possibly can, because you just learn when you can do 25 runs in a day instead of just like climbing all the way up Deer Mountain for 1 or 2 runs. You'll just learn a lot faster.
Yeah.
And
I'm all about the chairlift.
When you're learning too, being able to go on a groomed run is pretty valuable, because you're not dealing with changing snow conditions.
And you can work on your form because you're in control.
Yeah. Last time I went outside of the logging road stuff with my snowboard, it was down in California, and the run was just ice.
Oh, yeah.
So it was real tough, and I hadn't, you try to go down somewhat controlled, but man, like in the weird parts of the body hurt, shins were just on fire. Yeah. But yeah, it was fun. You enjoy the first part, you enjoy the learning process, but outside of really getting hard effort,
think
like
knowing your personality, I would think once you get the basics, the backcountry's the most fun place to be. I don't love riding the chairlift anymore. I'd rather get the uphill exercise and then get a run or two down that's like untracked, and have my dog running around with me, and that's super fun.
I gotta assume the stuff you guys are gonna go see in Montana is gonna be a lot less traffic than what I saw in California. It was the closest 45-minute drive away.
Local place we're going to. I mean, it's so they. I mean, maybe they did the expansion of TV Mountain. But it gets busy at the bowl, man. Snowball.
Especially at Christmas time. Yeah. The chairlift will open at 9:30, and the line before they let anybody on the lift will be like 100 yards long and like 50 people wide. It is freaking crazy.
But that's
and
just the start, though.
Yeah.
And the chairlift is a piece of shit.
Yeah, man. It's like, it was there when I was in, growing up, middle school, high school. Still like just two people, and it's slow.
And it breaks down all the time.
Yeah, I've stories of people getting stuck on there,
But the old timers love it because they like the nostalgia.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the ski culture, and that's why. I mean, that's what I miss, and that's why it's awesome to meet these dudes, because like we get to bring the ski culture here, and try to develop. Because we go up there and there's people that are like, "You guys go up there and ski that?" We're like, "Yeah, it's the only place I can find Thailand. We got to get something."
Well, it's a whole different world up there. You don't even realize that the Alpine is up there when you're always down on the saltwater, like we all live by the saltwater. But then when you get up there, you're like, whoa, this is some cool stuff.
Yeah.
It's so unique being, skiing the Alpine with a saltwater view and looking at all the islands and the ridges and snow up high and no snow down low.
The spring, I think the spring skiing here is kind of my favorite part of the year because the days are so long. We get into April and May, and we're still making turns up there, and it's it's like people are swimming and fishing down here, and so we can go skiing in the morning, and then in the afternoon I can go hang out on the beach.
And the snowpack's usually in really good shape by then, so the travel's fast and safe-ish.
You can hike up to the snow in tennis shoes and then put your skis on.
Yeah. Well, the last 2 Marches and even Aprils, we've had a lot of snow.
Oh yeah.
So that's been kind of nice too. Yeah, it's been kind of ruined getting on in Alpine. If you go up there to hunt or you're hiking to a lake to fish, but just hiking for the sake of hiking, it's kind of been ruined for me moving back because there's so much that you can do. And so now if I'm getting to the top of the mountain, I want to. Well, now what? What are we going to do? So that's what the whole backcountry ski thing. I'm thinking, all right, well, so if I'm going to get to the top here, now what's the fun thing that we're going to do? Is I feel like a total just jerk that.
Well, I'm right there with you. I don't hike just to hike that much anymore either. But backcountry skiing, it's such a hoot because the uphill you get the exercise and the downhill is just so easy on your body. It's like you are back at the car in 15 minutes, going down 3,000 feet. So it's just easy on your body and fast and fun.
It's easy on your body if the conditions are like.
Right.
But that's not always easy on your body.
Yeah.
When you're going down. When you're going down.
Well, I do remember going down a hill, losing one ski, and the ski just continuing on. This is at Alyeska when I was freshman in high school, or whatever, and then.
After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't one. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. They cut out the cost of retail stores and pass those sweet savings directly to you. For anyone who hates their phone bill, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. I was hesitant about having to get a new phone and a new phone number, but with Mint, you can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone and your same phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate whether you're buying for one or for a family, and at Mint, families start at 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and to get the plans shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/waypoint. That is mintmobile.com/waypoint. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/waypoint.
Like someone stopped the ski for me, and then I think I took off my other ski and walked down to it.
Yeah.
That was a disaster. Total disaster.
I've been on Gris chair and clanked my skis and one fell off when I just got on the chairlift. You know, so then I had to go all the way back down, and then you talk
Did
to
you
everyone.
ride the chair down?
Oh yeah, I rode the chair down, man. It was at the very end. Like, why would I go down on one ski? Why would I do that? But then you gotta, when you're going down there, it's like, oh, you lost the ski, huh? Oh, you lost the ski. Oh, your ski popped up all the way down. You know, people looking at you. So I can see why people was like, I'm gonna ski down on one ski.
I don't want the shame.
I want the shame. Yeah.
You get paraded by everyone on the lift.
Yeah.
Well, I used to mainly snowboard, and I remember making a whole run with my back foot out of my binding because the strap broke about top third of the run. That's that can be pretty brutal too. You can be really careful. You twist your leg off,
Yeah. That's the torque on the knees and the hip, the different muscles and the stabilizers that you use was also something that I didn't grow up skateboarding, and so I didn't really have with the snowboard, which was my lead foot. I don't know, like I just kind of figured it out, but it's fun, and I like the idea of getting up to Dude Mountain. And why Dude Mountain? Of all the other mountains around here, is that most conducive to?
It's good. It's
for a lot of reasons.
It's a little further inland, and it's up high enough, and it's a little further inland than like Mahoney and Deer, so it gets less affected by the wind and the salt water. It's a little more protected. The snow's a little drier.
So it stays a little cooler back there, and that helps a lot. And it's also a little out of the wind compared to like Deer and Mahoney.
Yeah, Deer gets really wind blown.
Oh my God, it's horrible.
With it blowing like that on some dude, like Deer Mountain would have been, white out. So
it also has a nice, safe approach up that ridge. So it's like even if the avalanche conditions are bad, you've got access safely. And you can get up there and check it out, and then you can get back out safely as well. So.
Yeah.
You don't have to cross any dangerous spots to get to it to find out.
Mm-hmm. It's the best bang for your buck hunt or hike around. You can drive almost to the top of it. So if you just want to do a quick little exercise, run up to the top, back down. It's
hour
and a half round trip the most.
I've never even been up there in the summer.
Well,
never been up there in the summer.
In the beginning of June, it's pretty fun. I can leave my house on Potter Road, go up, ski a run, and be back home within 4 hours, round trip.
Wow.
Because it's just like you can park at the trailhead, like the snow is just melted to the trailhead, and then you can dash up to the top and ski back out, and it's just super fast.
I've done a couple of after work trips where I'll put my board in or my skis in the truck and my gear, and then after work on my way home, go over to Dude, do a run, and then go home and have dinner.
Yeah.
Now what parts are you skiing? Because you're heading up the ridge on the trail. Mm-hmm. There's the steep crazy on the left, and there's that front face.
It's mainly the big bowl to your right if you're going up the ridge.
So it's just that front side right there that you're kind of looking at as you're driving up?
Yeah, that's the most popular spot. We do some off of as you go over the summit shoulder, off, I guess, the west-facing side.
There's that big bowl there, that open area between Diane and Brown.
Yeah, okay. So sometimes that's fun too, off the other side of that. And then there's a tree run that, the one we did yesterday, that when conditions are questionable, maybe the snow's not as stable.
Area right there. Ridge.
So we'll go on the way up the ridge. It's also off to your right, but it's a little lower, and go down through some tree gullies.
Yeah, right where you hit the top edge of the tree line, just to the right there. There's a nice, that's a nice tree run.
More protected run.
It looks way different than. Even hiking it in June, when you see just kind of where the snow was, where it accumulated, and you see the trail is here, but the snow is still way up there. So it just smooths out so much of that terrain that when you're hiking up, you're thinking, man, this is crazy. But
in the summer, it doesn't even look doable, and then in the winter, it gets loaded up. That bowl's north facing, so it really loads up when the wind's blowing southeast, which is the typical wind, and then it's in the shade, so it stays a little cooler, and it doesn't get the sun effect it doesn't get any sun in that bowl until probably April.
Yeah, it looks real rowdy when you're driving up there.
It all looks very steep
when there's no
But it's really just steep when you first drop off the top, and then it kind of it scoops out like a typical bowl, and then it rolls over again, and that's an area that we've had issues before. That's a pretty slide-prone, convex slope.
But getting started, I have an old board and I have some boots. But if someone was interested in skiing, downhill skiing, or snowboard, or different types of skis for downhill versus like your cross country type skiing, what are you looking at price wise, brand wise? If anybody would want to listen to this and be totally rigged, what would you recommend?
Would you tell them to get into telly?
Definitely want to spend some time on the chairlift if you're doing that. Well, if you already have a board and boots, you are totally set for skiing deer, or Dude, or Twin, or Mahoney in the springtime and summer when you can actually walk on top of the snow.
Yeah, so like the late spring hardpack, which is the easier snow to learn on anyway. The sun hits it and softens it up. It's hardpack. You're not sinking in too bad. You can boot pack up it no problem.
And snowboard boots are comfortable, so you can hike in them.
Yeah.
So somebody who has an alpine setup with just skis and alpine boots would have a hard time hiking up like
ski
that.
this bowl right in here, hike back up, ski that, hike back up, and then we'll ski this back down the trailhead.
So this is on your school website, so this is where everyone just knows that you're the cool teacher, right? Because Mr. Fry does backcountry skiing. He's not, he doesn't sit at home type guy.
No, he's not on the couch.
This is why kids still talk about you in high school. Oh, Chad Fry's the man, he's the coolest guy ever.
Yeah, right. This is an old video we made. Mark was like out there with us.
There's the shade line. See the shade line?
Yeah. Way different. And how far down do you go on that?
Depends on how.
We've gone all the way to the creek bottom.
I've
before.
usually stopped right bottom. There. Yeah. That's where I usually stop. Yeah, I got my good Marvin. But this is when it was like lots of snow there, man.
That's on the road.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and so there's the trailhead. We've been there where we couldn't even see any of those tops of trees.
That clear cut's grown up a lot. Ian's been working on a little top secret path.
You see how windy it is up there.
So those are with downhill skis.
Well, either a split board or an alpine touring setup. So once you've I'd say starting off, if you've got a regular setup of gear, do the late spring thing where you can boot back up to the hard pack, let the sun hit it and make it soft, easy to ride on, and do that. And, get comfortable, work on your skills, make sure you like it, and make sure you're ready to invest some more dough in it. Because the backcountry gear is more expensive, but for skiing, the setup would be called an alpine touring setup, and what that is they're essentially lightweight downhill skis and bindings that allow you to release the heel, and then ski boots that have a walk mode that make them more comfortable for going up in, and then they give you a little bit more ankle movement for the uphill, and then you put them back in ride mode to come back down.
And the whole setup is a lot lighter than anything you would get at like a rental shop on area. It's just skis will be 5 pounds, boots will be 5 pounds. It's way light, and then you gotta have skins for the bottom that are like a directional fuzz on the bottom of the ski. It glides going forward and grips going backward.
And they adhere, and they have a clip on the tip and tail that adhere the skin to the ski, and then at the top when you're ready to go back down, you just rip it off and put it in your backpack.
Oh, cool. Because I was wondering about that. If you start going up a little bit, and then
they have a lot of traction.
You need a brake or a second like that, or there's like a little slip or something. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, you get kind of used to where you should take a break. You like take a break where you hit a flat spot or a sunny spot, or you turn side hill so you're not pointing up
because
the hill
anymore.
Because
this is what it looks like the sun just it's usually in the shade here. And
what month is that, Chad? March or something?
Oh, I can't remember. This was a few years ago. And so you get. See, this is why we do it right here.
Yeah.
Right.
You're talking about going up for the goal and the mission. Like the mission is making these turns.
Yeah. It is crazy how much flatter that does look when you see it in the summer, just that harsh V and the sharp rocks. But this looks real nice.
Yeah, all the rocks get completely covered when it's good. You know, in a good snow year, it's just a big smooth bowl.
Nice. Then you're talking about a split board.
So
a buddy of mine on Prince of Wales had said he took a snowboard, ripped it, and then you just detach it somehow for the way down, but use them as your way to get up.
So it sounds like he did a split kit where you can take an existing snowboard and rip it and cut it, and you buy the hardware from, I think Voile makes them, but Karakoram, there are a couple other brands that are making split board kits. Although pretty much every snowboard brand on the market now makes split versions of their big mountain boards, and you know, if you have the money, getting the stock one's good because it's got an inside edge, protects that instead of where you cut it, you just kind of epoxy it and hope for the best. But they always inevitably end up delaminating that when your base comes off, and you've pretty much limited its lifespan if you cut a board in half.
But it works, especially.
Yeah, if that's what you got to get up there. But you know, you still got to get the hardware for it, and it's everything's pretty available on the market now, and it's comparable in cost to an alpine touring ski setup. But the split board, I mean, the concept is splits into touring skis. The bindings remount with, you know, quick release, quick pins basically. The bindings remount, oriented like skis with the heels free, and you put skins on it like you would on backcountry skis and go up, and then at the top you put it all back together.
And then you've got your super comfortable snowboard boot, which is why a lot of people love snowboarding. Is the boots are so comfortable, but the side hilling with a snowboard
sucks.
Side hilling on the split board because the boots are soft. So there are benefits and there are ups and downs to both. I kind of learned to ski so that backcountry was easier, because they are just kind of ideal for touring versus a snowboard. If that's where your heart's set and that's what you do and that's what you want to continue doing, the gear's out there on the market.
Especially if your other buddies are doing that too. I mean, that's one thing is when you're snowboarding, it's nice to be with other snowboarders because the terrain access will be similar. What you want to board on will be similar. You know.
The transitions are pretty fast.
The other gear cost is in the beacon, the shovel, and the probe, which is about $400 probably to get the 3, and you should definitely have that and know how to use it if you're going to be traveling in the backcountry.
You want to go to classes. You want to be around people that know.
The class is another investment to consider because normally you want to get a level 1 avalanche course under your belt at this point, and you know, you're looking at a couple $100 at least. For the class, but
there's usually avalanche awareness courses that are available in most ski towns that are free, and they're just introductory and very informative. They're definitely a great start.
Yeah, a great precursor to your level 1 course. But you know, if it's something you're getting into to the point where you've invested, you know, $1,000 into your backcountry kit, your ski touring kit, you know, beacon probe shovel, the education is absolutely a must-have to go with that stuff.
And you know, you got to know like what conditions you're going to be skiing in too. I mean, when I came from Montana and I came to Southeast Alaska, I mean, I had North Face gear, but it was like wasn't stopping the moisture, wet, heavy snow around here. And first day when we went up to like Jag Lake with like my buddies Søren and Marv, it's like we went there, and that was my first experience. Super wet, you know, heavy snow, carrying all my gear, where I had like my snowshoes, and, you know, that I had on, and some boots, and then I had like my ski boots in my, you know, in my backpack with my skis mounted on the back of my backpack too, and then I was poling through all that kind of stuff, and it was just snowing, but it was wet, and I was completely wet.
You would probably be sweating your
blood off. My God. It was horrid. So, like, you know, making sure you have stuff, you know, that the snow where you can, you know, you have that wicking stuff. Because this is hard work, man. Hiking up, this is like... it's hard, man.
Have stuff that can vent and have insulation you can remove. You know, you don't want the massive, you if you're like in the Colorado Rockies most of the time and you've got some huge, super thick parka and that's your ski jacket, you don't want to tour uphill in that thing. You want something insulation you can take off and still have a wind barrier.
And helmets, that's the cool trend. When I was growing up, we never wore a helmet. We never had anything like that, and so now everyone wears helmets, which is something that you're gonna want to have as well, and then hydration, so you have your backpack. Now it's nice because if you have like the touring ski set up, you don't have that weight on your back anymore, and it's on your legs. And then so you can put like water or whatever just in your pack, or have a Camelback or something like that, and it's just way easier. Because dude, I sweat a lot. Hiking up. I'm like the last person. These dudes are like way ahead of me, and like, I'm never like, Shawn's the one that's blazing trail all the time, and
it's nice skiing with Shawn. You're never breaking trail.
I think you were breaking trail a lot yesterday.
What type of gear, before we move on to the next part, like what type of brand gear is like a good gear? You mentioned the North Face, and it wasn't it was like the upper echelon North Face, or what type of brand?
Well, North Face makes really good stuff. They all make really good stuff. It's all pretty darned expensive, but if you look in the sale stuff in the spring, that's when you can get some screaming deals.
Watch for clearance. Watch for spring clearances.
Clothing, skis, boots, everything is. Watch for the clearance stuff.
eBay is not a bad place to shop either, because a lot of gear shops, when they clearance out their gear in the spring, stuff that doesn't sell, they'll make an eBay store. And so like I got my backcountry ski boots from a gear shop in Arizona of all places to sell backcountry ski boots, but I got them from a gear shop that was clearancing out last year's stuff when I bought it. At this point it's years ago, but
we're big fans of Black Diamond, Patagonia. They're all expensive, but if you find their stuff on sale or in clearance, it's pretty reasonable. But the big brands, looking at the reviews helps a lot.
Arc'teryx is stuff that I have a lot of. Arc'teryx is.
And look at reviews online. A lot of companies are really good about like warranty and repairing their items too. So like if you get like a Black Diamond or an Outdoor Research good shell set, or a good boot or something from somebody, like it might kind of hurt paying a lot for something that you might wear out and use hard, but a lot of that stuff, those companies, I mean, if you tell them you like their product and you wore through it, they'll send you a brand new one, or they'll repair it for free. So they stand by their product, and sometimes you get what you pay for that way.
And then as far as skis and boots go, I mean, you can look at the weights and look at
whether you want to go tech or if you want to go, I don't know what the other one is, just the regular binding.
So a lot of people are skiing mostly on area and then a little bit of side country, so it doesn't matter. And side country is just like kind of backcountry skiing, just barely off area. So it's like chairlift access and then maybe a little hike outside the area.
Because that's what I'm going to be doing, I think. Like when I go to Bozeman, I think I'm going to go to Bridger, and they have a chairlift that has side country that, you still have to do your beacon and your shovel and all those things, but I'm bringing my skins, I'm bringing all that stuff, and then I can access that area. So you want something that's, easy to kind of get into your touring,
But it doesn't have to be quite so light, because you're not going to be spending all day trying to cover miles with it or anything like that.
Right, so if you're like 70, it's cool, you can go online and say, and like find these sites and say, I'm going to be 75% on area and 25% off area, and they'll be like, you should look at this stuff, and they'll give you a list of different skis. You don't need a super light setup if you're going to be mostly on area, because a heavier setup can be good when you're bashing bumps and all of that stuff.
Yeah, and the bindings, you can get bindings that are built a little tougher. If you're going to be mostly lapping chairlift runs, you'll put a lot more abuse on a binding, because you're going to be running it constantly downhill, and it's high stress runs where, when you're touring, that's not nearly as hard on gear, so they can sacrifice a little bit of strength for lightweight.
So my skis are carbon fiber, and they're pretty darn light. It's pretty nice, even when you have to put them on your backpack. It doesn't feel like you have skis on your backpack anymore. They're just so light.
How much easier is it to go with skis rather than snowshoes if you're going up there?
but way
easier.
easier.
It is like
Skiers
tough,
call
man.
snowshoes slow shoes.
Yeah.
You're always
Slow
waiting
shoes.
for the people on snow.
There was a spot
Anyway,
over on Prince of Wales. It was a real docile little hill, kind of in the middle of the island. So there was a lot of snow, but it wasn't one of those main mountains. And so I just hiked up with snowshoes, and it was, just I hope I wouldn't sink down too far. But man, it was so much work.
Yeah.
And then as soon as if you're lifting your foot up and you have to come straight up and then forward, you can't. It was terrible. It was a huge workout. And then about 10 minutes after I got to the top, a couple people were like, "Hey, thanks for bringing the trail." I'm like, "Oh man, it's messed up." I'd have been a little later, I wouldn't have had to do that. But man, just absolute drenched in sweat. And I do wonder if they were like, "He's right up there. Let's just wait because he's going to break the whole trail. Let's just hang out and let him do that." But oh man, it was rough. You feel good about. I mean, you get some cool tracks, behind when you look back, you think, man, I did that. Good.
Yeah.
No one else is all.
It's like this.
No.
Skin track looks pretty good too.
Tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, skis are long and fat, and they really spread your weight out so well.
flows,
You just
All the
and
way through down there.
skis these days have instead of like the traditional camber where under your foot arcs downward toward the snow as you get away from your foot. Now there's early rise in the tips, and it makes it not only easier to ski downhill, but skinning up is so easy with some early rise in the tip, because when the snow around here can be so heavy and wet sometimes, and the tip of your ski, when you're kind of trying to climb up the hill, your tip will just want to dive in. Well, this early rise, the ski tip like arcs upward sooner than it used to. There's more like a foot back from the tip of the ski, it arcs up, and it just keeps you right on top of the snow.
It was like a life-changing event for me when I skied the double helix, and the Liberty double helix, and it had that camber to it. It was like this,
Reverse camber,
the reverse camber, and because when you're skiing in areas, sometimes there's like these big chunks of snow or whatever, and your ski is already up, and you just blow through that stuff instead of having to fight it.
Skis, when you would just try to transition at speed from the groomer to the powder on the side when you're on area. Oh, you would wreck so many times. I would wreck so much, and
so
now
hard.
The skis are fatter and the tip rises up sooner, and it's just like you can just fly right into variable conditions.
More surface area to control your ski.
Same things happened in snowboards too. When I was in college, they were just starting to do rockered boards instead of cambered boards. And I think it was actually the terrain park boards, the freestyle boards, that started it first. And it was because guys in the park didn't care so much about being able to dig in the edge on ice as much as they did about being able to butter on boxes and rails. Yeah. And then they started figuring out like, wow, this floats so much better in the powder. So now pretty much all the big mountain boards are all either call it hybrid camber, where they're cambered between your feet but then rockered out to the tips, or they're just full reverse camber. And
there is so many options out there.
Yeah.
You really should do a little research before you just buy something. Talk to your friends.
Yeah, get on forums, watch videos, watch review videos. Those are huge.
Man, I'm telling you, it's so fun to do that.
Yeah.
I totally will get into that, and I'll be like sitting at the table because it was time for me. I was like, I'm gonna switch to tech. It's lighter. I'm just gonna do it. And I'm getting older, and I want lighter stuff. And so I was researching all the different things, like which bindings to get, what kind of skis I should get, which kind of boots I should get, and I was making charts and prices and all those different things, talking to my wife who doesn't even really ski about what I should do. And and so like she could tell you, like if you asked her, well, what kind of skis or boots or I'll tell you which one. Chad was really so on about it, so it was pretty funny. But yeah, I mean that's exciting, to be able to. It's expensive though, man. It is expensive.
Well, that was when I first started out fly
Super
fishing.
expensive.
I didn't know what the difference between a $100 rod and an $800 rod was. It wasn't until I casted that $100 rod a lot. I thought, man, it'd be really nice if I had a rod that could do this.
Yeah.
And then you get used to it, and you cast a rod that's, a premium rod, That's exactly what I'm looking for. Or this one's really expensive, but it doesn't really fit my casting style. Same thing with the bow. Same with anything, right? You don't really know to appreciate the expensive thing until you have enough experience to say, I would like something that could do this to match what I'm doing. So I'm glad that before I moved up here, I traded a road bike for my buddy's old snowboard and boots. So I have, it was a nice Cannondale, you know, and there was a little computer on it, but so it's just a snowboard that it's made to snowboard. I don't really know all the details about it, but I've enjoyed using it the couple times that I have. I think the more go out, then you kind of look at what I would want to do.
And you think snowboarding is the thing you'd want to do?
I think it's just beyond. Yeah. I saw that.
I mean, is that what you want to do?
Well, it's because there's no monetary investment at this point.
Yeah.
So if this is going to be something I actually do, some people, you put all the money into it because you like the idea of you doing that when you're not going to actually do it, right? Like you guys actually go backcountry skiing. People like the idea of doing it. Oh, we could do that. Like living the brochure life of Ketchikan. This is all the stuff you could do, but do you actually do it? You buy a kayak and it just sits there, right? So I think starting off, just having something that kind of works and see how I'm actually going to do it, especially since I'm not coaching now, I do have the time. So I'm actually going to go forward with it and do it. I think then at that point I can look at that and just maybe have one of those miserable days of
because
love
then you
skiing.
put it to your back. You put it to your back because it's not a slip board.
Yeah, but then I would either have to just take my boots up or snowshoes.
You'd snowshoe.
Yeah,
and have it to your back.
And I would be.
That works.
It works, man.
Marvin
did that for
did that forever. AJ still does it.
AJ still does.
Yeah, so
he's been doing it for years.
Yeah.
I mean, AJ's an experienced backcountry guy. He has a snow machine. Grew up backcountry skiing in Colorado, and he's always been snowshoes and carrying his board. And it looks miserable, but he likes it enough that he keeps doing it.
He's got snowshoes that are called verts, and they're for pretty much like setting a boot pack up a very steep slope.
He can kick in with them where a lot of snowshoes he can't kick steps. He can kick steps with them.
So he always wants to go straight up. So it's tough for him to stay with us because he wants to break his own trail and go straight up instead.
We'll zigzag and make switchbacks, and he just kind of beelines right up the middle of them.
and then also this is what he said to me too, was that with a split board it's just that your board is cut in half. And so even though when you put everything back together and you switch it, it's still not completely uniform like your normal snowboard would be. And so I don't know if you lose like some mobility. I don't know.
So I've heard both, and so I've done both. I grew up snowboarding. That's what I'm best at of the two sports. But in backcountry conditions on a board, I've never felt like the downhill performance on my split board was affected enough to justify snowshoeing and carrying my gear. Like in powder, the size of your board and where your bindings are mounted matters so much more than whether one half's flexing slightly different than the other half. You're not going to notice that much. Where I do notice it is I've ridden it on area a couple of times, and you kind of notice it on groomed runs. When you have a really smooth, hard-packed, uniform snowpack, you notice it a little bit on groomed runs, but honestly, for getting up in the backcountry,
where the uphill's the hard part.
And who cares about their performance on a groomer? That's usually ripping groomers. If that's the goal, you shouldn't be using backcountry gear anyway. But AJ said he notices the difference in how it rides, and I'm sure it's a lot more individual than that. You got to figure out what you like and what works well for you. And he may have ridden a split board that was a DIY build, or something that was on the market 10 years ago, and they've done a lot of improvements since then. So,
but as far as for skiing, there's different gear, and me personally, if I'm going to invest in this, the first thing that I'm going to invest in is boots. You want your boots to be comfortable, and you want that's like, I think, the most important part. Is your feet are comfortable, then you're warm, whatever. That's like the most important piece. And then after that, I don't know, bindings are important, I think, just make sure that when you fall, hurt your knee or anything like that. So you want to make sure you have those bindings. And then from there, I'd go with skis, poles, and whatever. It's kind of nice if they're light, but like I think the most important
adjustable
piece
is good.
Yeah.
If you have adjustable poles, that's good because you want them a little longer when you're touring up the hill.
Yeah.
But then you don't need that extra length on the way back down.
But like
That's
boots,
less important.
but boots are like the most critical piece I think to get. So if you're gonna spend money and you want to splurge on one of those items, I think boots is the one to do. I don't know how it is for snowboards though.
For snowboards, I mean, the boots, a really nice snowboard boot is not that much more expensive than a really cheap snowboard boot. And because a split board uses a regular strap style snowboard binding, you don't have to get like a touring specific snowboard boot. It's best if it's light, obviously. Every ounce that you don't have to pick up with your foot every time you move your foot forward helps. But comfortable is, you can get a comfortable boot for $80. You can get a comfortable boot for $500. So on a split board, if you're split board in the backcountry, the board and binding setup matters a lot because that's how you're making your transitions between touring and riding. So the it's got to be a good kit that you can trust the hardware not to fail you and strand you on the mountain.
Yeah.
and
be proficient with it because
practice
can be cold on the top.
Yeah, practice in your driveway in the rain a few times when you're miserable, but you're not holding yourself up on the mountain. Like practice switching it back and forth between the two a bunch of times because
peeling the skins off and
you don't want to
the bindings.
You don't want to figure out
keeping them warm, dude. And if you're gonna carry anything and you go in backcountry, carry duct tape, man. Like if your skins don't stick, that's the worst thing ever.
Duct tape.
Ask Matt Klein.
Duct tape and safety wire.
Yeah.
Because safety wire can get you through most types of binding failure in a pinch. If you can't adhere your foot to your ski, you're not going to get out. And you're going to be post holing all the way out.
Eric the Red, were you there with Eric the Red when his ski tip broke? So on his binding, so he couldn't. He only had one ski, and we were on the bottom. And we just skied down that had to climb back up and get to the ridge and go down on the other side. It was deep snow. So that's rough.
Yeah, duct tape and baling wire can get you out of most types of backcountry gear failure in a pinch.
And a headlamp just in case.
That's going to take a while anyway.
I mean, that's just as important. Headlamp, for sure.
What type of snow are you looking for, and then what were kind of the danger alert